G'day guys and gal. Whilst Warhammer 40k was never really meant to be a good vs evil sort of franchise, the faction led by a giant gold and blue demigod who fights for the survival of his species and tries to do the right thing obviously has a significantly higher moral high ground than the demons of hell who want to give everyone warp aids. However, the line starts to get pretty blurry when we look at the Death Company, once noble Sons of Sanguinius that have fallen into a PTSD driven rage that leaves them in a constant state of berserkness, believing their enemies and allies alike to be valid targets, thus massacring everyone. But there's a lot more to the Death Company than just super angry blood angels that see Horus everywhere, and not everyone experiences the rage the same. It actually goes pretty deep. But not as deep as I'm about to enter you, as I'm happy to finally announce the launch of the 2024 Christmas Majorkill merch drop. The goal of all my merch drops is to make stuff that you could wear even if you didn't know who Majorkill was. First up, we have the heavyweight grunge hoodie. I know a lot of you Legends are metal fans, so I wanted to make something more up your alley. This hoodie is also extremely thick. Like my normal merch hoodies are like summer sport hoodies, these bad boys are winter hoodies, thick as hell, 360 GSM with the red hood strings. Sadly, my samples of these got lost / probably stolen by one of you retards, so I just have to show you the mock-ups. But trust me, it's awesome. I was able to try an unbranded sample and it keeps you warm as hell. I was also finally able to get the G'day Fuckheads trackie or sweatpants or whatever you want to call them. I've been trying to get these made for years, but the minimum order quantity was always too high, but I finally managed it. I hope you can see what I'm doing. They are the perfect pants to wear at home. Comfy, stylish, and cheeky. What else do you need? As for the actual designs for this drop, I went with 2 t-shirts and 2 singlets. The first is the Get Good t-shirt, an orc-themed masterpiece designed to flex on your opponents in the orkiest way possible. It forms the orc symbol. The second t-shirt design is for you undead robo-Egyptian fans out there. Surrender and die, for when peace was never truly an option. Both these t-shirts would tilt the hell out of your opponent in any game. As for the singlets, we have the Blood for the Blood God singlet, which a lot of people have been requesting. Always good to show your loyalty to Khorne, with the final singlet being a fan favorite reference to the lore, said just before Vulcan beat the shit out of Conrad Curse. You're probably noticing a lot of green and red. It's Christmas, baby. Something super important to me is the cut of the merch. As such, the singlets are flattering, but they're not too aggressive. Good for the gym or just day-to-day use. Likewise, the t-shirts hug the arms and chest, but they leave the stomach baggy. I've literally had people ask the name of the supplier so they can just buy blank t-shirts and singlets because they love the cut and quality so much. This year, I also took your feedback about the cheap shitty Santa hats from last year, so this year is a lot thicker, a lot fluffier, and a lot nicer. If you order $200 AUD or more of merch, you get a Christmas hat for free, or you can just buy it yourself. In terms of bundle deals, you can get the hoodie and sweatpant combo, which will save you $15, or you can get the entire merch drop in one purchase, which will save you 20%. Also, due to returns, boxes being discovered, or just leftovers from merch drops that didn't slap super hard, we also have the Old Legacy collection. All previous remaining merch 20% off, so if you missed out on any of those or just wanted to have a sus, then feel free to add some of those to your order. All merch is limited and we went for pretty low quantities this year, so get in while you can. Today we'll go over the Death Company, detailing the Black Rage, the characters involved in the Death Company, how the Death Company actually works, if they're all crazy, and so on. Let's get into it. Unfortunately, life isn't fair. Some Space Marine legions have incredibly stable and reliable gene seed, allowing for easy implantation and life of honourable and sane service. Other Space Marine legions are rife with mutations and horrific side effects. The Thousand Sons definitely cop this the worst, but the Blood Angels were a close second. The Blood Angels have 2 negative gene flaws. The first was always within them, the Red Thirst, an overwhelming urge to drink blood and rend your enemies or even allies limb from limb. The Red Thirst could be recovered from. It was like a temporary haze. However, if severe enough, it was hard to distinguish from the Black Rage. Sanguinius would often cull any legionnaires who fell to the Red Thirst, with them not even recognizing their own Primarch, and would even attack Sanguinius himself. The Black Rage would manifest later on, after Sanguinius was killed. Unlike the Red Thirst, the Black Rage was mostly permanent, leaving the Space Marines in a state of berserk rage as they relive Sanguinius' final moments, believing all non-Black Rage Blood Angels to be Horus, thus they would try to destroy them. A fellow battle brother, Horus. A child, Horus. A disabled cat, Horus. Both the Black Rage and the Red Thirst would give the Blood Angel a power boost, making the Marine immune to pain, significantly faster, stronger, and more vicious. Often, the lack of tactics the Death Company displayed was more than made up for by their sheer ferocity. After the Heresy, where the Blood Angels had to come to terms with their gene flaws and not just ignore them like they did previously, they didn't want to just color execute every Marine that fell to the Black Rage or Red Thirst. It was not only incredibly wasteful, but was also a massive dishonor to the man the Blood Angel once was. All Blood Angels had the potential to fall to the Rage, so most of them are extremely empathetic to it. Hence, the solution was the Death Company. Those Marines that fell would be gathered together and put into the Tower of the Lost, aka the Tower of Amario. From here they would have two potential fates. Either their armor would be repainted black, they would then choose whatever weapon they wanted from the armories, usually melee, and then they are assigned a Death Company chaplain to guide them in battle. I say guide instead of lead, as they cannot be controlled or led. However, they can be pointed in the right direction. A Death Company chaplain is a man of incredible willpower. Being surrounded by the Black Rage can push Blood Angels to fall to it, so not only must they resist, but they also must be so respected by the Death Company that even in their insane states, they still somewhat listen to them. Then they are unleashed upon the enemy, with the goal being for them to find death in glorious battle, dying as a Blood Angel, not as a beast. The second option is a lot worse: experimentation. The Blood Angels are constantly seeking a cure to the Black Rage and Red Thirst. As such, sometimes they take those afflicted and experiment on them. One experiment is the Lestralio procedure, where the afflicted Blood Angel is shackled down and coaxed into speaking of their visions and their state of mind. This is then recorded to try and understand better how the Black Rage works. However, due to the nature of the procedure, the Blood Angel will continually thrash and seizure, breaking their bones and rupturing their organs until they die. It's named the Lestralio procedure after a chaplain called Lestralio, who tragically would end up falling to the rage and going through the procedure himself, dying in the process. Another fate is that a small select few Blood Angels who have fallen are simply locked up and allowed to mutate. During the rage, an angel will slowly get larger and more bestial. If locked up for years, they will grow to be twice the size or bigger than a normal Space Marines, walk around on all fours like a beast, and just be all-round terrifying. Thankfully, not many Blood Angels endured this fate, and those that did were released during the devastation of Baal, finding absolution in the blood of Tyranids as they massacred hordes of the space bugs before they finally fell. So yeah, if you fall to the Black Rage, joining the Death Company is the way to go. Now, the Death Company are not supposed to survive the battle they are deployed in. They are used as an absolute wrecking ball, attacking the enemy in a devastating suicidal charge designed to break the enemy's back at the cost of their own lives. However, sometimes they do survive, which is when Asteroth the Grim is summoned. Asteroth is one of the greatest Blood Angels to ever live, only behind those like Dante and Mephiston. He can beat Gabriel's Seth in a fistfight, and his job is literally to grant peace via execution to Black Rage Blood Angels, the same Blood Angels that are turbocharged and can rip Space Marines limb from limb with no effort at all. Asteroth is the High Chaplain and technically the leader of the Death Company, if that is a thing. Asteroth shoulders this burden alone, and will actively travel to other Blood Angel successors to execute their Death Company survivors. He can even sense the onset of the Black Rage and otherwise normal looking Blood Angels, telling them that they should fight extra hard and hopefully die in the next battle so that they can die as a noble son of Sanguinius, not as a rabid dog of the Death Company, or worse, a victim of Asteroth's own acts. Now, there has been about 2, maybe 3 examples of the Black Rage afflicting Blood Angels differently than normal, giving the rest of Sanguinius' sons hope. The first is Mephiston, a Blood Angel who fell to the Black Rage after being trapped under rubble. However, miraculously he was able to cure himself, and in doing so, gained a massive boost in power, becoming one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Now, the details about how he managed to randomly self-cure and then become a demigod are a bit hazy, however it's likely because Baal's Angel of Darkness bound itself to him and made him its avatar. Yup. The next example is Lamates, the chosen chaplain of the Death Company and the other leader of the fallen Sons of Sanguinius, alongside Asteroth. Basically, Asteroth, being the High Chaplain of the Blood Angels, has command over the Death Company, but has delegated Lamates as their captain. Lamates fell to the Black Rage mid-battle against the Orcs and was handed to the Death Company. He survived the battle and was taken to the Apothecary to meet with Asteroth to accept his fate. However, amazingly, Lamates was like, "I'm cool, dog, it's all good," and Asteroth was like, "Fuck me sideways and call me Mia Khalifa." See, Lamates had fallen to the Black Rage, that wasn't in doubt, but his willpower was so strong that he was able to maintain his sanity despite being in the rage. He was put into stasis and sent back to Baal for further study, and yep, all tests said he was raging, but he didn't attack his battle brothers and he was coherent. Now, being in the grips of the rage 24/7 and just walking around isn't a good idea, so Lamates is kept in stasis and is deployed in battle alongside his Death Company whenever he is needed, before then being put back into stasis afterwards. The idea being that if he only has 100 hours left before insanity, then why let him only fight in one battle when you can use a stasis field to squeeze dozens out of him? So far it's working, as Lamates continues his role as Guardian of the Lost, Warden of the Death Company. The final example are the Flesh Tearers, especially Gabriel's Seth, who experience a significantly higher rate of Black Rage than other chapters. Gabriel himself is constantly battling for control, with Flesh Tearers being known to slip in and out of the rage mid-battle, their willpower the only thing keeping them from being lost forever. This has caused some unfortunate incidences, such as the time the Guardsmen were holding the line against an army of Orcs, and then the Flesh Tearers attacked from the rear. The Tearers butchered the Orcs from the rear, however upon slaughtering them, they continued their charge and ended up attacking the Guardsmen gunline and killing all of them. Whoopsies. Even the less known Death Company chaplains are still badass as hell. Chaplain Daenor led the Death Company against Khan the Betrayer and his World Eater Berserkers. The Death Company was actually more angry and hectic than the World Eaters. No wonder why Khorne wanted them, with Daenor himself fighting Khan. Khan was the better warrior and he wounded Daenor, but the Death Company made a good showing of themselves. Daenor was famous for having absolute control and being especially strong, his blows hitting like thunder strikes. Do all Blood Angel successors have a Death Company? Well, yes. Some have slightly different color schemes, but the vibe is the same. For a while, the Lamenters didn't actually have any Black Rage issues, just issues with everything else. However, they too have finally started falling. Primaris are also seen as potentially immune, however they too have begun falling as well, although not as quickly as Firstborn Blood Angels. Other successors have slightly different policies, with the Angels Numinous hating their Death Company and making sure none survive, whilst the Angels Sanguine have actually had some success with the Lestrale procedure, with some Blood Angels returning from the grip of the Rage. Honestly, I don't know who is having a worse time, the Death Company or those that the Death Company are unleashed upon. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up some Majorkill Christmas merch. Limited stock, great quality, don't miss out. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.